a.m. first live stream of the day. Give you a bit of a rundown. I know it's a holiday in America, so I don't expect this live stream to be too busy. It is a national holiday, so if you are tapping in and you're American, welcome. Now, we have a busy month of September. We started our month yesterday. A lot of fights coming up this week, a lot of fights this month. First few minutes, I'll let you know what's going down here on the channel. Now, if you haven't joined our Discord, click that link. It's pinned in the comment section below. Johnny says Boxing Insider VIP. What I did there, it's a couple bucks a month. You'll get more access on the channel, more accessibility to myself, more features here on YouTube. More importantly, you'll get access to our Discord. I just posted in the Discord because I know a lot of you boys are asking about MMA. We do cover the Dana White Contender Series. This is going into week 4. The last 2 weeks, weeks 2 and 3, we went 10 for 10. I used to host a live betting show on Instagram called Easy Money with Johnny and Tyler. That's actually this hoodie. This goes back to the pandemic days. Now, Tyler is an MMA journalist out of the DC area. He's, a bit of a wizard when it comes to regional MMA. He actually is he manages fighters. So I always send him the Dana White Contender Series fights. So what I put in the Discord, I gave you guys his picks. He also gave you guys his method of victory picks. Now, those aren't necessarily my picks, but you could take whatever you want out of Tyler's picks. They're in the Discord. Go under the MMA chat. I will be giving you my Dana White Contender Series parlay after this live stream. All right, check that out. Also, guys, I released our first Stats Don't Lie of the week. That is under our fight prediction playlist right here on YouTube. These are my produced, edited breakdown analysis and prediction videos. The first one of the week was Osleys Iglesias, the main headliner, taking on Vladimir Shishkin. Check that out. That came out last night. I'm also going to be doing the Sugar Nunez fight. There's a bunch of fights this week. So we could start there. I want to know where you guys are tapping in from, wherever you are. Let's see. A couple minutes in, I'll do what DJ Green in the house. What's up? David Eister, could Iglesias be another Tellez? It's a good question. Money Meach, heaven sent. This fight is too good. I will be staying awake for it. Mar the Prince, Ohio in the house. Will you be covering Steven Nelson and Raiko Santana? Santana gave tough fights to Truck, Lester, and Blancas, and I definitely feel he's a live dog. If you guys are asking for it, I can cover it. I've covered Steven before on the channel, so I could definitely get into that. It'd be a fun one to break down because I agree with you. I don't know the odds yet. Let me check real quick. I was actually looking at the odds for the method of victory for Iglesias versus Shishkin. So currently, Steven Nelson. Wow, Santana's a plus 340. Yeah, I'm going to definitely cover that. I'm going to cover that. I think Santana's a live dog. I got to be honest with you. Heaven sent, look at Osleys Iglesias' amateur experience and Tea's performance before he lost was a terrible fight. I was watching highlights of some of his fights, David Eister says, and people in the comments were complaining about how some of his punches... Yeah, let me talk about something real quick, because I've been watching... Let's talk about Osleys Iglesias real quick. I don't know what happens in the YouTube content creator space, guys. I don't know. It's so intriguing. If you guys are familiar with the word zeitgeist, zeitgeist is sort of a phenomenon that occurs in the mental thought patterns of groups of people within the same sort of stratosphere, within the same niche. The fitness zeitgeist, the political zeitgeist, the boxing zeitgeist. And I've been watching literally the last 4 breakdowns of Osleys Iglesias versus Shishkin. The commentators, 4 separate channels, 2 were from the UK. I haven't seen any Americans break it down. And they all brought up the fact that Iglesias rapid punches. And I totally disagree. What they're seeing is in his highlight reel, Iglesias is a heavy puncher. Tall southpaw, rangy, right? So a lot of the guys he's fighting, including Shishkin, they're going to have a shorter reach and they're going to be a little bit shorter. So what happens is when you punch, when you're facing a power puncher, a guy who could crack, as the fight progresses, you begin to sort of wither, and then your guard begins to crumble. And a lot of times guys will go into survival mode. So the punches I see are when guys are like here, they go into survival mode, and that's when a guy like Iglesias really starts to cook, and he's punching here, and it's not his fault. His opponent isn't taking him here. His opponent's going here. So that happens all the time. That's not Iglesias being a dirty fighter. I don't think that's Iglesias throwing rabbit punches. I think that's his opponents not intelligently defending themselves. So, yeah, I've heard that a couple times. We got a lot of fights this month and next weekend. Yep. Yayo99 says, how we doing, Johnny? Busy week, NFL, college football, boxing. I missed an 18 leg because of Bama. Oh, God, Yayo. I missed a 20 leg because of Central Florida. You guys know it's college football season when the boys are watching Jacksonville State and Saginaw State. You know what I'm saying? So college football, sprinkle something on it. I took North Carolina today with the over. I got that at about plus 390. I just think Bill Belichick, they're playing, the game is in North Carolina. They're a bit of a dog against TCU. I took the dogs. The dogs were barking yesterday as well, so I hit a nice little two-legger yesterday too in college football. Okay. JP Farley says Iglesias on points. JP Farley, this is a bet that I like, and I've been debating people, friendly conversation about it, and I've been reasoning with my bet, finding ways for me to believe in it to go heavy, because Vladimir Shishkin he's a real pro. He comes from a real camp. It's not a secret he trains out of Kronk boxing. He knows how to operate. If you rewatch the William Skull fight, his only loss, I mean, there's a real good argument that he won that fight. A little bit older, a little bit more experienced. I think, and looking at the odds right now, Iglesias is I got him at plus 450 to win on points. Everybody's expecting him to knock Shishkin out. Now, I got, obviously, Iglesias on the money line. I gave you my prediction. I'm very comfortable with him beating Shishkin. But I feel that Shishkin should be able to find his way and maneuver his way around those first 4 rounds of the fight. It's a 12-rounder. I think that if he could get through that first quarter of the fight, he should be able to take him to the distance. I think Shishkin should be able to stretch him out a bit. We'll see. I'm not saying that's my exact bet, but I love that bet right now. I love Iglesias on the money line. I know the odds are insane. Everybody, like I said, all the money. Even if you take Iglesias by knockout, it's $1.33. So on my lock of the week, I'm taking Iglesias on the money line. But on my method of victory parlay I do every week for you boys that I'll put up, mates, I love Iglesias by decision. So, I'm going to have a couple more chats. I might bring a couple boys on to debate it, and we'll talk about it. But I like where your head's at with that. DJ Green, I got that fight going. DJ Green, same. All right, I'm catching up to your comment. JP Farley, I feel you. DJ Green, I feel you. I think there's great value there. Heaven sent Osleys, beat Morrell in the Amis. Different fight, though, in the Amis. Lost to Mads, UD. David Iser, I agree. I like Iglesias. I really wish guys would step up to the plate and fight him. Dangerous opponent. Adu, Conlon going on my 100%. So Adu, I was gonna I put this on my Instagram. I'm gonna break that fight down. I watched the tape on Bateson. Mate, come on, man. And when I did the live with the boys this past weekend with Gary and Muscles and Tommy Randone, and they were talking about Mick Conlon fighting Bateson, and I initially said that I was going to stay away from it. I watched the tape on Bateson. Guys, if Mick Conlon can't beat Bateson, dude, I think of Bateson, he's 20-1. I think only 9 of his wins have winning records. And then maybe one of those wins, maybe one of those guys is even flirting with the fringe Brit level. Dude, unless we know Mick Conlan's been stopped. We know he's not in his prime. But goddamn, unless he just lost everything in terms of his skills and how, unless his durability is just totally shot, I just can't see him losing to Bates and Jack. I can't see it. I might be throwing him on the boy too. I'm catching up to your comments, boys. DJ Green, Shishkin. I agree Shishkin's good. People are sleeping on Shishkin. I think that what's happening with these odds, Chilltown and myself went live last week, and we were talking about how lately the bookies are creating these odds really wide, almost kind of like as bait. Tellez was, I think, a 7-1. Think about the other draw, the other main event in that other card 2 weekends ago with the little guys. He was 6-1. The odds have been crazy. Icer, do you agree head movement is something that Iglesias lacks? With a big puncher, look, head movement is something that it's kind of like you can't just write head movement down on a fighter's credentials, whether they're good or bad at it, as a switch. Like, for instance, you could say somebody has a good jab or a bad jab. That's a switch. You could press a button and say, when we're doing our analytics, good jab or bad jab. No gray area, good jab, bad jab. Head movement is weird. Head movement isn't like that. When you say, does a fighter have good head movement, there's gray area there, because a guy who is going to be a counter boxer, a guy who's going to be defensive minded, a guy who's going to want to pull something out of his opponent, his head movement is going to be different from a guy who punches. His head movement is going to be different from a big puncher, a power puncher, a guy who feels that he wants. And then you then maybe you're dealing with a slugger. Maybe you're dealing with a guy who's going to be on his front foot who wants to trade and take one to give one. So when people say, does he lack head movement, I don't look at it that way. I think that Iglesias could crack, and I don't think Shishkin could hurt him like that. At 168, does he lack head? I haven't seen anything for me to think that is going to be an issue. It's a good question, though. I'm rewatching Shishkin versus Iglesias. They haven't fought yet. Christian Morales, sub Johnny. Hope we. Yeah. Christian, thanks for the hook. Yeah, we popped in there. It was crazy. It was busy. We spent some time in there. So Christian Morales, talk to your boy. Appreciate the hookup this past weekend. DJ Green, Iglesias definitely doesn't move his head. I got rid of my ESPN Plus app. Both guys are going to be on their front foot. Shishkin's lost once, decision to William Skull. Never been stopped. True, but he's good. Heaven Sent. Watch Shishkin versus Skull. There's, like I said, there's Shishkin rocked Skull. He didn't drop him. He was landing nice and flush late. Skull, did enough to survive. The scorecards, in my opinion, were kind of all over the place. Really close, whoever scored that. It could have gone either way. Adu says, are props up for Sugar Nunez fight yet? What do you like in that fight? Yeah, Adu, let's look at that real quick. Obviously, I'm high on Sugar Nunez. Christopher Diaz, he's a big favorite. Sugar's a big favorite. I'm going to be covering that fight. I've done film study on both guys. I'm going to do my upload. That's my next Stats Don't Lie video. We're not getting great value, guys. Nunez on the money line is such a big favorite. To win by stoppage, it's only $1.12. To win by decision, it's $7. So maybe we're looking at a total rounds bet. You know what I'm saying, boys? Because right now, total rounds, Nunez versus Velez, over 5.5 is $1.72. I think that's going to be my bet for Sugar Nunez. The over-under. Over 5.5 rounds, it's $1.72. Under 5.5 rounds, it's $2. The thing about Sugar Nunez, he's a pressure forward guy, volume through the roof. He wants to drown you. He doesn't have one punch knockout power. He has a lot of knockouts. Like I said, his style is akin to William Zepeda in terms of how he goes about his business. I think he has a little bit more power than William Zepeda, and I think he does a little bit more. He throws a little bit more power punches. He is there to get hit, though. Watch the Rikishi fight. Rikishi did a lot early to get Nunez's respect. Rikishi landed a couple good shots real early. It didn't deter him. I actually like that over at 5.5. $1.72. I think that. I mean, I'm never a guy to say a lock. I don't think you could ever say if. I mean, hindsight's 20/20. Moses, under 5.5. Everyone was saying that was a lock. We know how that went. It was a lock. I mean, ethically, I don't want to say the over 5.5 with Sugar's a lock, but I think I might throw that on my. That's probably the bet, considering the odds are so wild. Whatever one you guys like, because I don't see Velez beating Nunez. This is Nunez's sort of. This is one of those fights. Categorize it however you want to categorize it. He went to Japan, brings the belt back home. He's facing a guy with a handful of losses. Sugar's supposed to win this fight is where I'm getting at. $1.12. You put $100 for him to stop him. You get your $12 back, and the money line's so terrible. You get what, $2-3 on a $100 bet? The value here is the over and under, 100%. I think Christopher Diaz-Velez should be game enough to take him into the mid-rounds. And you know what? Matchmaking aside, if Christopher Diaz-Velez isn't good enough to take him into the 6th round at 130 pounds, I mean, let's see something real quick. Okay. It's a 12-rounder. Diaz has been stopped once. That was in 2021 against Navarrete in the 12th. Guys, this might be... I love the over. $1.72. Go back to our big prices. You put 10 grand on that, 7,200. Let's go. That's my pick. I think, you know what? I'm rolling with that. That was a great question, Adu. Sugar Nunez in the over, 5.5. Let's go. $1.72. I'm loving that pick. Of all the picks this weekend, that's the one I love so far. Method of victory. Let me know what you guys think. I would bet 7-12 knockout on Sugar. There you go. What are those odds, DJ? Heaven sent. I would say Iglesias, the hardest fighter Shishkin faces in terms of skills. It's Shishkin for Iglesias. I would say Iglesias, the hardest fighter Shishkin faces. Johnny, not to digress, how did you grade Arch's performance? Do you think the criticisms have been fair? Did you catch any Bryce Underwood? For a teenager, I never liked the criticisms, for a teenager. Being an athlete, former athlete myself, you probably could have predicted what I was going to say here. The American mainstream sports media is awful when it comes to shit-talking athletes, especially young kids. I mean, these are teenagers. You know what I'm saying? These are kids. I get it. His last name's Manning. And, I understand. Dude, the odds were stacked against him. You're coming into Columbus, Ohio, the horseshoe. I just think the odds makers got it wrong. I don't think he played as bad as people said he played. I don't think the national media gave Ohio State's defense enough credit. You're playing against the defending national champions. Rather than focusing on the first-year quarterback, as a starter with the last name Manning, not living up to expectations. Maybe you should be focusing on the defending national champions at home at the shoe, shutting the number one team down. So I think Manning will be fine. I think that kid is talented. He's skilled. The game operates at a faster pace. I always tell my friends, I played quarterback nowhere near at the college level, but high school, I played it from the time I was 7 until 18. So, you're playing from 7 to 10 at a different level. The speed of the game's different. From 10 to 12, speed of the game's different. I'll never forget, starting my, we had freshman football, then JV, and then varsity in high school. Freshman, the game is moving so slow. I'm like 13. I didn't turn 14 until the end of my freshman year. So the game is on. And then the very next year, I'm playing JV. The game was a little bit faster. And then my sophomore year, I'm 15. Our starting quarterback is hurt, varsity, and I play. And I'll never forget the first series of varsity football, high school I'm talking. The game was so much faster, dude. That's the one thing that I'll always remember, how just everything was so fast. And looking back, if I had the tape, I'd be like, dude, it was so slow. But what I mean is, you only know what you know. So I can only imagine, and this is, factual, is when you go from the high school to college level, and then you break the colleges down from like, NAI, junior college level, NAIA, Division II, Division I, and then you go, small Division I to big programs, and then you're at the shoe, 110,000+ scarlet and gray mad Buckeyes screaming. You can't even hear. You have your quarterback, you have your play calling in your ear. You're trying to read the line of scrimmage. You got audibles happening in real time. You're trying to see the play clock. Everything is insane. You're trying to call, shift, right, no, change. It's insane. So this is why I always tell people, what made Tom Brady amazing wasn't that he was the biggest guy, the fastest guy, the strongest arm. Wasn't any of that. It was his ability to read the defenses, make split decision play calls at the line of scrimmage, his ability to audible, his mind. And so that's what I think Manning will get better with as the season progresses. And you can't be too hard on him for that. That's the Buckeyes. It's not like he went into, you know what I'm saying, like punk ass Saginaw State and lost. PJ, what did you miss? So we're 22 minutes in. Like this video. Like I said, it's a holiday where you boys are in America. I don't expect this live to go crazy. We're not going to break too many numbers here. PJ says, dude, does Iglesias fight go the distance over 8.5? I like that, actually, PJ. That's what I got. Iglesias on the money line, and I like the fight. I like Iglesias by decision, and I like the over. David, do you know much about Kevin Saggio? I seen him fight, and I think he's really tough. He just fought. He was a big favorite. We'll see. I mean, he's ranked. He's internationally ranked. He was supposed to fight Iglesias, but ducked him. I don't know, man. I think boxing needs new terminology. It's for. I don't like the duck. I would never label a boxer a duck based off of decision-making moves. I mean, at this stage of the game, you want, you're a skilled guy. You have a lot of hype about you. You want a household name. You want a name that's, it's like the game Leapfrog or Frogger. How are we supposed to make business decisions with names that don't move us up? Kevin Saggio, I don't fight Kevin Saggio because I beat him and his name doesn't progress me. And because I don't do that, I'm called a duck. I disagree with that. Money meets Johnny in his prime Labor Day cookout hours here. Yeah, I know, mate. I knew. I had to go live, though, Money Meets, because we got the Aussies in the house. And we got some UK fans, too. DJ finally got Bet365. Let's go, DJ Green. That's funny. You get the... DJ, go to your Bet365 account and let me know what you're getting for Sugar Nunez over 5.5. I love that. I love that pick. I assume those odds are gonna change. Hopefully not. You figure over-unders can't change that much. You know what I'm saying? But over 5.5 at $1.72, I'm like as close as I could do. Call that my lock of the week. That's the one I'm probably gonna circle. Banky Crazy in the house. Yo. Heaven sent Iglesias versus the winner mobility. Let's go. Yeah, because, guys, Iglesias has that IBO belt. I know a lot of Old school box. There was a time, boys, where the IBO was a very significant belt. Not anymore though. But that belt, the IBO. But you're right. Usually the IBO will fight the winner of the IBF. Billy and Lester. Kiza B, Kakachi, Duck Nude. Yeah. Okay, so now that's different, Kiza, because Kakachi admitted it. Kakachi admitted it, right? Kakachi said, I don't want to fight Sugar when I could fight 126-pound Lee Wood and make more money and stay home and fight him. And so, that's true. I guess ducks do happen. Ducks do happen. I guess you're right. I guess that would be akin. I don't know, man. Just in a sport where, you could get seriously injured and your life could end in the ring. Maybe that's why I don't like the word duck. I've never really, the word duck's never set, it's never sat right with me in boxing. Business decision. Saying the word duck came along the lines of like promoters, and then obviously with social media era, casuals use that word. I'm not saying you guys are casual, but you know what I mean? The genesis of the word duck was kind of like an easy way it's kind of like in the social politics sphere right now. Whatever side of the spectrum you're on, if you really want to degrade somebody, you throw like a buzzword out there to call them a name. So like the word duck is kind of like in boxing used that way too. I look at it as a business decision. Iglesias doesn't want to fight Sajo because you have to. What do I get out of it? You know what I mean? What do if I'm not climbing the rankings, if I'm not getting mainstream exposure, if I'm not making more money, if you want to call it a duck, usually the people calling it a duck is the guy who's not getting what he wants. Chat's popping in, boy. Jacques Cousteau, tank a duck. Yeah, I'm not a big tank guy. Who you got? FX. If Conlon can't beat Bateson, mate, watch Bateson's tape. We're not looking at much, boys. Jazz, Wardley versus Parker, almost finalized. Poor Joseph Parker. Yeah, I heard that. Adu, Parker, Wardley announced this morning. Joseph Parker should be fighting for... that's such a tough fight. I don't know, man. I want a Parker versus somebody a little... I get it, but that's such a tough fight for Parker. I think he deserves a bit more than that. It's not official, though. They're rumors. I don't know, though. I see Nunes getting Diaz out of there with a body shot early. Yeah, Diaz, maybe. It took Navarrete 12 rounds to stop Diaz. It's the only time he's been stopped. That over, DJ. Do you like it, DJ? I like that over. That's where I'm leaning on. Jean Silva versus Diego Lopez on the same day as Canelo Bud. Yeah, I think Silva stops Diego Lopez. I got to be honest with you. I told you. I broke this fight down a couple weeks ago. I've always questioned Diego's durability. This guy was getting stopped on the regional scene. I think that run he went on in the UFC when he broke through was kind of a flash in the pan sort of run. I rate John Silva high. He's like a reincarnated Vanderlei Silva. What about Mick Conlon versus Jack? I'm just taking the money line. Like I said, dude, Jack Bateson, 20-1. Look who he's fought. Look at his resume. Look how he fights. Come on. If Mick Conlon can't beat that dude, man, I don't know what time it is. I don't know if I'd call it a duck. He got nearly paid double for it. That's what I'm saying, History Vault. That's a business decision, right? When you have to take into consideration when we're talking about ducks. It's a good chat, though, boys. It's a great question to ask, David, and it's a good chat to have on an educated sort of perspective like we're doing it, boys. No one's attacking each other. But if I'm making a business decision to fight another guy and I'm getting either paid double or I'm getting international exposure or I'm getting bumped in the rankings to set myself up chess for a world title fight, you can't. It's not a duck. I just don't like that word. Tenny Oladeji say how many rounds? 12 rounds, bro. So Tenny, 12 rounds. I like the 5.5 over. Diaz has only been stopped once. Navarrete stopped him 4 years ago in the 12th. Sugar Nunes isn't a one-punch guy. Has a lot of knockouts. Yeah, Conlon's not good. I wouldn't include him on anything. Yeah, I got talked into it. History Vault. I think people are just mad Sugar versus Kakashi never happened. Yeah, but Kakashi did speak on that. I was going to say that's still a tough fight. I bet because that Kakashi chose Wood before he saw Nunes fight Rikishi, and that's why Nunes went to fight Rikishi. I would have taken Kakashi to beat Ford. I got to be honest with you guys. Oh, so it's the other way around. Sergio doesn't want to fight Iglesias. That makes way more sense. Parker versus Jit. Yeah. Parker deserves so much more respect. I know. I don't like that matchup, guys. I don't like Parker fighting Fabio Wardley. I don't. It doesn't excite me for everything Parker's brought to the table. What we've seen him kind of pick himself back up in his career. I mean, he obviously thinks he's gonna analytically, strategically. Fabio Wardley, if you're listening to this isn't a knock on you. I'm talking strategically. It's not a hard match to beat Wardley when you're game planning. But ask Justice Hooney that. All you have to do is not punch with him and circle away from his backhand. Literally all you have to do. Hooney was doing that beautifully for 10-plus rounds until he chose to punch with him. To this day, that loss will forever haunt Justice Hooney and his team. I don't care what he says. He won't get it. That's a tough one to ever get over, all things considered. Would prefer Parker versus Cabello. I agree. I'm tired of the Parker pity. David Eister, he always brings a voice of reason. Although at times a contrarian, this is what we need. Much respect to Wardley. He didn't have to take this hard of a fight so soon. Yeah. I mean, Wardley. Who do you favor in that fight, guys? What are the odds? I don't think it's official. Jazz says Matias versus Smith is such a good fight. I think Dalton has the power to stop Matias, actually, but his chance is early. If not. Rumor is, Jazz, that fight's falling through. Could you guys fact check this or somebody go and Google this? I was hearing that Subaru Matias and Dalton Smith is off. Check that out. Hell yeah, I wish FanDuel had that bet. Well, I like bet 365. Heaven said John Silva got one of the darkest backstories. I haven't said, you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, Diego fan favorite, fun to watch. When he was coming from the regional scene, the LFA, and then because he had gotten his opportunity once and got stopped in the LFA. He either got decisioned or stopped, and that was supposed to be the fight that propelled him to the UFC. And then he had to win a couple more fights, and then he got into the UFC, and then he went on that streak. And then people are super talented. I've always questioned his durability. And when you're fighting a guy like John Silva, who's an absolute savage, durability shouldn't be the thing you question going into that fight. How about Nelson versus Reiko? FX, I think Santana's a live dog, guys. Is anybody feeling me on this? If we had to pick a live dog, I'm not saying Bateson. You know what? It's gonna be really hard for me to put Mick Conlon on my parlay. But Reiko Santana versus Steven Nelson, though. Nelson's the favorite. I think Reiko beats him. I do, man. Nelson's older, stiff. We know about the injuries. We know what camp he comes from. I'm not trashing on him. He did look good late against Diego. He was starting to figure Diego out late, but that was like a 21-year-old version of Diego. I feel if Nelson, would have, ran into Diego when Diego's like 25, Diego stops him. But, that we don't have time machines and we can't change timelines. I actually liked what I saw out of Nelson late in that fight. He made it a lot closer than that fight should have been. Reiko Santana's a live dog. Do you think Arobio gets a knockout? Stops the dude earlier than Barboza. Let's go, Conlon. Would love to see Eye of the Tiger fighters on bigger cards. DJ Green shows wood. David, do you think Diaz hits harder than Rikishi? I don't know. It's a tough one to tell. It's a tough one to tell. Just because, you know, with the division, I don't know. What do you think? One Punch Wardley. Nathan Ibarra. What'd I say about my boy Tony? I hope all is well. Tony Ferg. History Vault. Blame Turkey and Usyk. They both don't want the Parker fight, so Parker can't do anything. WBO is already investigating Usyk. They know he lied to them. Yeah, something fishy's going on. That's the match. See, that's the matchup I wanted to see. I don't want to see Parker versus Ajit. I don't want to see Parker versus Wardley. I want to see Parker versus Usyk. I agree. That's the one I want to see. I'm not a matchmaker, though. Mankey Crazy. Justice Huni always trades in round 10 at domestic level. I wouldn't say Kevin Lorena's domestic level. Haney always trade. I think Mankey's referring to the Kevin Lorena fight. He had something to prove, which is why he went for it in round 10. I don't think he had anything to prove, Mankey. He was putting belt to ass. He was doing everything he wanted. That was a beautiful technical display of boxing that you don't see very often at the heavyweight division. That was a fighter doing exactly what he wanted to do for the entire fight. That was a fighter negating a power puncher. That was a fighter taking one guy's offensive artillery and neutralizing it with his boxing, his supreme boxing skills. So rather than saying he has something to prove, no, I disagree. And if that was, so the last thing you ever want is a fighter to fight with their ego, especially when you know your opponent only has one chance of winning. Like that one's tough to get past. That one's real tough to get past for me. Just the mental lapse, the lack of, you know, fight IQ in that moment. It's tough to judge because this is a firefight. This is war. They've been hit in the head so many times. Your cognitive reasoning capability just gets, you know, diminished more and more as the fight goes on. And so maybe he was hurt more than we thought he was. Maybe he got hurt with something we didn't see, and he was in, you know, sort of survival mode. I don't know. I just think looking back, dissecting the decision-making process, when you look at the overall story of the fight, he was winning by a landslide. That was insane decision-making to me. That's tough to get past. That's a really tough one to get past. Hand History Vault. Matias versus Dalton purse bid is supposed to be tomorrow. I haven't heard the fight being canceled. Yeah, I got messaged on our Discord. One of the boys with some insider info messaged me and was asking me if I heard anything about it. I sent some messages out. No one got back to me. DJ says he has Ryko versus Nelson as well. I think he's a live dog. Two method of victories. Yeah, I think Santana's my live dog. And I love the over in Sugar Nunez 5.5 at $1.72. There's some boys. We're archaeologists. There's some money to be made this week. There is some money to be made this week. I love where the chat's at. It's only Tuesday on my end and Monday on your end in America. And it usually takes me till Friday to really love a bet. And then, you know, inverse to that, usually if I fall in love with a bet this early in the week, I'll then overthink it and then flip-flop. So that's why I write things down. That's why I keep a journal to write things down to remind myself how I felt on said bet. I love that $1.72 over in Nunez. And I love the over in the Nunez fight more than I love Iglesias by decision. But if I were to go method of victory, Iglesias by decision at plus 450 is crazy to me. I love that. And then upset of the week, Reiko Santana against Steven Nelson. I think we're cooking, boys. Hand history vault. Usyk doesn't have a promoter anymore. He has to rely on Turkey or his fights go with a purse bid. If Usyk really wanted the fight, he would. Yeah, I don't know if Usyk has much left in him, man. I'm not talking stylistically. I'm not talking skill-wise. I don't know how much. Guys, if you look at fighters, or you look at our life individually, I talked about this analogy before. If we're an orange, I always use the orange analogy with my clients. You squeeze an orange, and that juice that comes out of the orange is either your client's potential, your client's ability to dig deeper, to lose more weight. That juice could be a fighter's, motivations to still fight. With Usyk, I don't know how much juice there's left in that orange, mate. He's already done so much. You know what I mean? So somebody says he might not want to make that fight. That makes sense to me. Dwayne Styles, shout out from Austin, Texas. Have been on some days I've been so busy, my mind is changing. Austin, Texas. Please, if this is Austin, I still love you. David Eister, Boacek and Adams is a good fight. So is Lube and Virgil. We got so many good fights, boys. I can't wait to talk to these. We got, dude, Eister's spot on with this, boys. And David, I saw your Instagram. You posted the some hip hop throwback rap albums, man. Nice. I agree. You put some OG ones up on that playlist. I like them. Mankey Crazy. No, I'm referring to Hooney fighting in Australia. Okay. Yeah, Mankey. Yeah. I thought you were talking. I don't know why you were referring to the Kevin Lorena fight, because when I was doing my fight tape of Lorena versus Hooney, Hooney did exactly what you said. He started trading with Lorena late and gave him an opportunity to win, and he got stunned. I thought that's what you were referring to. Dwayne Styles, appreciate you. Jacques Cousteau says Frank Warren is promoting Usyk, Cabello, and Parker. His profit motive is to send his in-house fighters against Usyk one by one, rather than have them eliminate each other for a title shot. This is like Kingmaker shit, isn't it, Jacques? This is exactly what Kingmakers used to do. This is the art of war, right? And you bring up, and I don't think you're that wrong with your perspective here. I mean, wouldn't you do that? It's chess. FX coaching. Do you think Bud's defense is good or not? Of course. Bud's defense is good. Yes, Bud's a great fighter. Great all around. Generational great. Imamov versus Bahayo. Heaven says many got Imamov because of his performance against Izzy and Cannonier, which was controversial. It's tough for me to bet against Kyle Bahayo. That's all I'm going to say. I don't like Imamov, by the way. Isn't Imamov French? You think the butcher's going to come to France and lose to a French dude? I don't be fucking with French fighters. I don't be doing all that. I don't got time for all them little French fighters. But anyway, I digress. Boacek versus Adams. It's a good fight. I got to be honest with you, man. I talked about it the last few weeks. Boacek is one of my favorite fighters to watch. So when I say this, I'm not shading him, but my experience on this planet, watching boxing, being around fighters, training, I swear I see Boacek. It looks like he's getting a little bit soggy a bit. It looks like he's showing that damage. I don't like what I see from Boacek in his body language. I don't like what I see in his eyes. I don't like how he sounds. I think Boacek's style has caught up to him, is catching up to him. I think he's ripe for the pickings. We'll see what version of Brandon Adams comes in. I don't know, boys. Yeah, I know. I was a bit of a joke, Heaven said. Buc-ee's. Yeah, maybe if you could get one of those graham cracker marshmallow treats. They had moon pies. Dwayne, if you find a moon pie, hook me up. Toxic. Toxic, what's up, player? If Bud knocks Canelo out, can you rap about it in Master P? 100%. 100%. Master P, man. Dude, Ghetto D. People always... I hate how you boys throw Silk the Shocker on worst rappers of all time, man. Silk the Shocker was way before his time. That off-tempo, off-speed rap. There was a group of us. Just a group of 5. Now 3 dead. What a jip. Dude, Silk was a beast, man. You guys are hating. I think I might cry if Bud does that out of shock. Mike Ross, did anyone actually get to watch Bell versus Hunter? I know Bell won, but Mike, they put it up in the Discord. I know some of the boys had the stream in the Discord. Guys, if you haven't joined the Discord, join the group, boys. Click the link it's in the pinned comments. It's a couple bucks a month. If you guys get any value out the channel, if you want to support me extra, if you want to join a pretty badass community, let's go. Sam Martin, what's up, buddy? Since when is Usyk a Frank Warren fighter? I think you're referring to one of the comments up top. Maybe he was talking about, yeah. No results on Box Strike yet or no clips either. Bell needs to come to a promoter. Yeah, man. What's Bell now? What is he, 32 years old? 28-0? 9. I think he won a decision. 28. He's a good operator, but, man, boxing's tough. You know, he left Top Rank. I don't know, man. He's a 6'1" big boy for the division. What about Charlie Edwards? There's so many good fights, PJ. If I'm going to bet on Charlie Edwards, I'll let you know, big dog. King Hassan, salute. What are some modern day old school boxers in today's boxing? Good question. One that jumps off the paper, modern day old school style fighters in today's era, Brian Norman Jr. You know, for me, Brian Norman Jr. is a throwback. Everything from his style to him traveling. You know what I'm saying? It's not every day you see a 24-year-old kid who packs the bags up and goes to Japan to fight a guy who only had one loss against a world champion caliber fighter as in Andy Hiroka. You know, people are going to downplay the Jin Sasaki knockout all they want, but don't get it twisted. Don't let them do revisionist history. Go back before the fight, watch my breakdown, watch what the YouTubers were saying. A lot of people were picking Sasaki to stop Norman. I wasn't. And then go back when he fought Cuevas. Go back to watch the Philly channels. The Philly channels, which there's a lot of them, were picking Cuevas due to his connections to the gyms there and his punching power. Go back to the Santillan fight. He was an underdog. I mean, when you talk about a throwback fighter, you talk about a guy who could go in as the B-side and win. Ticks the box. When you talk about a throwback fighter, you talk about a guy who will travel and win. Ticks the box. When you talk about a throwback fighter, you're talking about a guy who is going to stand and trade and punch with you and take one to give one. Ticks the box. And he's only 24. I think it's a great question. Brian Norman Jr. is my guy. Throwback fighter. Joet Gonzalez in a good fight. That's so random. David Eister with the obscure comment of the day. Man, we need to see Joet Gonzalez in a good fight. It's so random. Frank B, I got that fight going the distance. DJ Green, that French. I didn't mean to stir the pot, boys. I didn't mean to stir the pot. No, Imamov's good. Did Imamov lose to Strickland? Or Imamov fought Strickland? I don't. He's not a guy. I've watched him fight before. I know he's not French. He wears the French flag. Yeah, I still like. Kyle Bahayo's a nightmare to deal with. He'd be a sure bet to go the distance with Sugar. If Brandon Adams wins again, this should be an example of styles make fights. Heaven sent. You guys saw Brian battle in Dirty Boxing. Was a wild card fighter who lost. Got into a brawl with a security guard. Nah, I didn't. I got heaven sent, man. I had my eye on it, you know, my peripheral. I didn't watch it, though. There were a couple other UFC guys on that card, right? They sprinkled a couple of the other boys on that card. it's tough to watch everything. If I could, I would have watched it. Like I want to watch punk ass Frankie Edgar fighting Jeremy Stevens, or is he fighting Lil Heathen or is he fighting Jeremy Rivera? But yeah, either way, Frankie Edgar's fighting a bare knuckle. These boys are crazy. They just can't hang him up. You know, they just can't hang him up. Frankie B. Adams by decision is a good bet. Guys, I don't like the body language Boacek shows. Just go do your own homework. Go follow Serhi's Instagram. Follow his coach too. So his coach has other content on Boacek that Boacek hasn't put on his Instagram. Let me know if you see what I'm seeing. Yeah, Silk was good. Toxic. I'm never going to forget when I said if Plant loses Resendez, can you pop lock on? Oh, God, you came on pop lock. And, dude, Resendez. What are we going to do with Resendez? Toxic. Anybody hear about him? What's going on? I want to see him fight. Silk was kind of... See, you just had to be there, DJ. You just had to be there in the days. I used to hang with my boy. I used to bang with my boy. You just had to be there. Come on. Give me a Max Kellerman Iguodala taking rep. Oh, shit. It's a great question. Give me a Max Kellerman Iguodala taking rep. PJ, you keep asking about Charlie Edwards. PJ, why do you keep asking about Charlie Edwards? I do. I've made up my mind. Prop bets only for Canelo, but no money line bets for me on this one. All right, I do. What prop bet? Fight to go the distance. It's hard. It's easier for me to see Canelo Bud go the distance than it is for me to see that fight get stopped without picking a winner, because we've never seen either guy get stopped. So that's not rocket science. Johnny No Silk was bad. He just is biased to him because of nostalgia. You guys are out. Man, am I going to have to get... I will get copywritten right now and play some Ice Cream Man. Play his verse on that first one that dropped. Johnny, you said moon pie. I thought you said if you have to read it. Yeah, but you said you're a Buc-ee's. I was a little boy. I haven't always been this healthy, Dwayne. When I was a kid, I was a little savage. I'm not taking Charlie Edwards. I'm not betting on Charlie. You know what? Charlie Edwards, it's going to be tough for me to bet on Mick Conlon. These British fights, man, it's almost like they happen to bait us. Domestic level fighter. Odds. Like, I don't know, man. I wish all these UK fights would be like Nathaniel Collins, Nathaniel Collins versus Lee McGregor. When you had two guys who were on an upward trajectory, who both could have popped through to like world level. That talent, both guys super talented. We know, we took, Collins. We won money on that fight. But a lot of these matchups aren't guys with that sort of trajectory. So it's like, Conlon, come on. Victor Vallejo. Pedro, I never liked Hobson. I never heard. Who's Hobson? I don't even know who Hobson is. I don't know those guys. Johnny's, yeah, I'm old, man, that No Limit era. But, Bone Thugs. I remember when East 1999 Eternal came out. And, I grew up in Youngstown. And, Bone was they're from Cleveland. And if the whole thing in school, I think I'm 11. And the whole controversy in school the next day was like, mate, did you see nobody was saying mate, though. We were probably saying dog. Yo, what's up, dog? Did you see the cover of the new Bone record? And in the East 1999 Eternal record cover, in the burning building, you could see Satan. You could see Satan looking through a window. And I remember how scared everybody was all scared. Do you remember moment Ouija, dear Mr. Ouija, please tell me my future. Will I die of... Dude, Bone Thugs, goats, don't sleep. I miss these live streams. Welcome back, UK. Oh gosh, I had to join her Lucas phase. I don't even know who these guys are. I know who Logic is. Dude, Mixtape Logic was off the meat rack. I like all of the before he the Logic singles with I'm not even gonna lie, man. I kind of like Flexecution. I gotta be honest with you. I kind of like when he was inventing words in the beats, dude. Whoever was making his beats early days, Logic had a couple actually good tracks, but I don't know who Joyner Lucas is, and I never heard of Hobson. I thought he was going to heavyweight. Joyner Lucas songs with Chris Brown. Y'all lost me. The last Chris Brown song I knew was his joint with Busta. Look at me now. Come on, dude. Betting on domestic British fights, I do it for the... Yeah, man. That's my guy. You know about that. I told that story before. I forget. Do you got... Come on, Tenny. If Mick Conlon can't beat Bateson, dude, what are we doing? What are we doing? Have you guys watched tape on Bateson? No offense, Bateson, if you're watching. I know, I'm old, BX. I don't know new rappers. I'm not against listening. Like, the newest... You ready for me to date myself? The newest rappers I listen to... This is going to come off horrible. Don't judge me. The newest rappers I listen to in my head that are new, like in terms of guys that I've got into over the last 15 years, would probably J. Cole, one of my favorites. Kendrick, one of my favorites. And they're not new. They've been around for like 2 decades now. So I did like, I'm not going to lie, mate, when, what are them, who what was the record? The 3 dudes, Walk It Like I Talk It. Who's the rap group? Walk It Like I Talk It. That album with none of the words made sense. And with the hot, so because I like beats. It's not like I'm against new rap. Do you like the date? Dude, I haven't heard Mike Ross. I haven't heard the Dayton Family. I haven't even heard anybody talk about the Dayton Family in like 30 years. That night, it was not the. I'm gonna message my boy Dre. What you know about the Dayton Family? People, that record, people love that record. I was born in 2004. Seems back then more natural. Now things feel artificial. Heaven sent, man. You're not wrong. He was listening. I love 112. Don't be, dude, 112. Come on, mate. Still listen to 112. Tell me who's gonna look at you and love you for the person you are. Dude, 112, Cupid, come on. See, we had, back in the day, boys, we didn't have social media. So we actually had to go up to girls. You not only had to go up to girls, you had to throw game. Where I come from, you had to know how to dance. You couldn't just like play, you know, I told you about this on a live stream back in the day, Shy Guy. Shy Guy was a game where we would go to a club, and if one of your boys was quiet and we saw girls looking and they were too shy, we would go up to the girl and we'd call it, we'd ace on you or we'd front on you and be like, yo, you see my boy over there? He likes you, but he's too shy to come talk to you. So then she would come up to our boy, this guy, you know, it would get done to all of us, and then you'd be put in a situation where you have to sink or swim. So all these R&B bands were playing at the clubs growing up, and we had to know how to dance. You don't think it's going to be a draw, Canelo versus Crawford? Man, if I'm not the type of fight fan, PJ, to break down a fight, to watch 2 Hall of Fame careers, my entire upbringing, and then pick a draw. I'm just not that dude. I loved when everyone used to diss each other. Yeah, because clowning. You know, we used to have roast sessions. Come See Me, Cupid, Peaches and Cream, the whole Anywhere album. Funny Feelings. Come on, dude. Your Letter. Come on, dude. Off the Meat Rack. You know what's funny, DJ? Is that my girlfriend Christina, I always talk about her. She lights my world up. I've been with Chris for like 8 years. She's this super intelligent, high frequency, doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't swear, super conservative sort of. Her dad doesn't even speak English, from Italy. Her mom barely speaks English, and she'll text me. She'll text me a screenshot of like a menu item at a restaurant that she had gone to, and she'll just text me the photo and just write Meat Rack. And then I'll text back. I was like, you hang out with me way too much. Shishkin is a tough fight for Iglesias. Yes, it is a tough fight. Pedro got 132 million views released 4 years ago. Yeah, they do, bro. All in drill rap. Hand history of all Bateson right now. You're taking Bateson? Victor, I be listening to old Chief Keef. Don't sleep on Chief Keef. Yeah, Migos. How did I forget Migos, dude? Don't feel bad, Johnny. My logic is the same to me when it comes to wrestling. John Cena, Randy Orton, still new to me because I stopped paying attention. Yeah. Hip-hop kind of dead. Even drill kind of died off since everyone in jail. Pedro need to get Johnny on that West Side Gun. I'll check him out. Sounds like a dope rapper. Freddie Gibbs, I think is... I know about Freddie Gibbs because he was on a podcast. I haven't really listened to him, though. Johnny in chat. Victor, what happened to the blue tick, baby? Victor Vallejo. You got to renew your membership, big dog. What up, Crispy Chris? I got those MMA picks for you, Crispy. I know you asked me for them yesterday in the Discord. Guys, in the Discord, I'm going to be putting up my Dana White Contender Series picks. Check out my breakdown of Iglesias versus Shishkin. That's up on the playlist. Stats don't lie. I'm going to be doing the Sugar Nunez fight. You guys asked for Raiko Santana versus Steven Nelson. I'm going to do that fight. There's a bunch of fights I'm going to do. It's only Tuesday here. Monday where you guys are in America. An hour in, 40 people. Happy holidays too, boys. In my area, DMV and real, bruh. Johnny Nice. Unless Mungia and Sriracha does a trilogy, I don't want to see it. Toxic, bro. You got game. You be like, come over and watch me show. I love some songs of DMX. Oh, DMX, come on, dude. When I was 1996, we're right before football season started, so we're doing 2-a-days, right? It's probably like the second week of August, 1996, and the album with Damien drops, dude. My boy picks it up. His dad's taking us home from practice because we can't drive at the time. We're 14. I'll never forget the first time I heard the snake, the rat, the cat, the dog. How you gonna see it if you living in the... Oh, my man, DC, ain't with me. Yo, you the smoke. I remember when you knew for the tree. Ha, ha, you know it's all we know. You sure? I could have swore it was over the whole... Nah, that ain't my style. You stay right. Come on. Or what types of game is being played? How's it going down? I'm politicking with the chicken, wondering if I'm a creeper. Little hood rat bitch from 25th named Tamika coming through. Like I do, you know, getting my block on. Knew she was a thug because when I met her, she had a scarf on. Let's go. DMX was off the hook. You guys are getting me hyped. Boys, I gotta cut it. I gotta cut it. It's only Tuesday at 7:30. I feel like it's Friday night. I'll see you boys soon. I'm going live again later today. We got Dana White Contender Series. We got fights Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We got college football. Let's get after it.